with that, we of course have one additional component to season 3.
That's right.
And that's with the Gauntlet and Leaderboard. And I will caveat, like, I know we mentioned this in the blog earlier this week. So the Gauntlet and Leaderboard are actually not going to launch at the start of this season. And that's really because, we want players to actually go through the season and actually grow and learn the season with their character before we actually launch the leaderboards. So we will have information on when we actually do launch Gauntlet and Leaderboards really soon. But Dan, I know, wants to kind of dive deeper into what leaderboards are and what the Gauntlet is for players so they have a better idea.
Yeah, so a lot of you saw a taste at BlizzCon of what the Gauntlet and the Trials leaderboards are going to be. And so we can go in a bit more depth here and hopefully start to answer some of your questions. So the Gauntlet is another new dungeon type. The Gauntlet is something that unlocks with the overall leaderboard feature in World Tier 4. And basically that means that it's targeting more of your in-game players at this point. Folks who have really decided on a build, they're starting to really round it out, it's become more powerful, and now they want to prove their might. Not just to themselves, but obviously to show off and have bragging rights. So the Gauntlet itself, new type of dungeon, is kind of based around 3 different principles. The first is that it is fixed seed. The second is that it is non-linear. And thirdly, like I said, it's there to prove your might. And so I'm going to kind of unpack that a little bit. Fixed seed means really that it is trying to be as fair as possible for everyone. Everyone gets the same Gauntlet every week. And so you're not fishing for, the best roll of a rift or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really a level playing field at this point. And let me tell you, that was kind of hard to do. Our game is not very good at doing one thing. It loves to do random things. But in this case, we felt competition demanded that it be fair.
Yeah.
Non-linear is really all about how the dungeon is laid out. It is not a dungeon where you travel from the beginning to the end. It's not about trying to get to the end as quickly as possible. It's about the choices you make while you're within that dungeon. And so the layout basically allows you to develop all manner of strategies. I mean, when we had people testing the dungeons, the gauntlets, there would be arguments over, or not even arguments, sometimes people would just kind of say, what was the best path you took? Oh, I think I can do better than that. And so a lot of it is trying to figure out your way through the dungeon each week. And then finally, proving your might is about killing enemies, and gathering what we're calling proofs of might, and then trying to get the highest score possible. So it's not about just going fast. Certainly going fast helps. But it's really about how effective and efficient are you at combat. And that's going to be reflected in your score. And so at the end of a gauntlet, you're going to get a score. And you're going to say, okay, can I do better than that? And we're going to say, well, we've got a couple targets you can try and hit, but really you're going to be shooting for those leaderboards.
Yeah.
But let's circle back on strategies a little bit. Yeah. And I think we've got a little bit of video to help with that. So here's the gauntlet right here. It, for all intents and purposes, looks like a normal dungeon. But we said, again, it's World Tier 4. It's targeting level 100 players. So we're going to throw a dungeon boss at you right at the start.
Yeah, and I will note, I know we're mentioning level 100. Technically, you can do Gauntlet before level 100. It's just probably more efficient to do it at level 100 just because it is an end game activity and it'll be challenging.
I mean, if you think you're ready to tackle the Gauntlet below level 100, by all means. It's not tuned that way. And so here, you're fighting, the Tomb Lord, and he's pretty powerful, but you're more powerful. In that case, you defeated him. Now, the cool thing about defeating that boss is it doesn't drop loot, it drops a shrine. And that shrine can then be used as a power-up to, further increase your power within the Gauntlet. And there's other types of new shrines within the Gauntlet, too. We just hit previously here a pillar of proving. And that's a shrine that actually respawns all the enemies around you. Now, why would you want to do that? because you want to kill them again and get their score, right? So we've got the Pillar of Proving, we've got the Pillar of Glory, which is a way to basically get a multiplier on your score. And we've even got chests scattered all throughout the dungeon that you can earn keys for. And you see keys up in the corner on the HUD there. And those keys give you even additional score. So a lot of the strategy of a Gauntlet is, as a solo player at least, trying to find the most optimal path through it and use that as a way to, take your really cool build and get the highest score possible.
And something we saw in the footage, obviously the first thing we ran into was a boss, like a Tomb Lord right there. And so you could technically take that Tomb Lord further into the dungeon if you want to.
Yeah. You're not stuck in the room.
Yeah, you're not stuck in the room.
You can draw that Tomb Lord right next to another shrine and do a combo, and then start building up even higher score.
Exactly, and so that's the thing I think with gauntlets. Like we're going to start to see some really, and because they change weekly, and these leaderboards will be weekly, we're going to see players kind of create different combinations of what's the best way of optimizing for the best score possible? Taking advantage of the shrines, taking advantage of the chests, taking advantage of should I drag a bunch of enemies over here just because I know I'll have a shrine ready and stuff like that. So it's going to actually be really interesting to see, and I think it adds even more complexity to the idea once you start adding additional players to it as well.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of fun testing this, especially in parties, because parties can then start dividing and conquering what you need to do in order to get that high score. And so we expect party scores to be, frankly, ridiculous.
Parties, got to play with friends there for that and stuff. And so I know with leaderboards, when you're looking at leaderboards, I think we actually have an image of the leaderboards here, just like a quick throw up here. But you can see, based off of how leaderboards are, there is an overall leaderboard. For players, but then you have the ability of actually being able to filter by class, so you can see where you are within your own class.
Yeah, so each class does have a unique ladder, and that's those first 5 icons you see right there represent each of those classes if you're playing solo. And that was really important to us because we were talking about that component of fairness that we want to make sure that the competition is a level playing field. We understand that a ball lightning sork, for example, probably shouldn't be compared to a rogue or something like that. And so we allow each class to compete independently. And then there are also ladders for each of the different party sizes, because obviously a 4-person party probably is going to be able to cover more ground than a 2-person party. And so that actually creates 8 ladders with leaderboards right there. And then we also multiply that by 2 because we have separate ladders for our hardcore players, because they are, they're competing on hardcore mode. They should get their own ladders.
Exactly.
And then we also have filters and leaderboards for the different platforms.
Yeah, so you can actually compare yourself. If you're playing on Xbox, you can compare yourself to other players on Xbox. Same thing for PC, which is great to see. We had the option of being able to kind of really filter out and see where we stack against other players in the leaderboard.
And that all gets rolled up into a global leaderboard as well. And all of those leaderboards we mentioned, you are also able to filter by friend and by clan if you want to be able just to see the people you're familiar with and not compete with kind of the community at large.
Yeah, so it's catered and customized to allow players to actually really get into almost like a granular type of look of how they may compete against just maybe everyone, or maybe just everyone on Xbox, or maybe just your friends, or maybe just people in your clan, which is really cool to see. And of course, with leaderboards and tackling leaderboards, as you mentioned, it is a separate dungeon. There are kind of rewards associated with leaderboards as well.
That's right. So be straight up here, though. The ultimate reward of a leaderboard is glory and bragging rights.
Exactly.
And so, only the top 1,000 players during a week are going to be able to get on the leaderboards. And it's going to be a pretty big accomplishment, but we got to do a little bit better than that. And so not only do we have the weekly leaderboards, we have the Hall of the Ancients, which is the top 10 players from every ladder each week get written to the Hall of the Ancients. Now, unlike the weekly leaderboard, the Hall of the Ancients don't reset. And so that is a permanent record of everyone who is the best of the best each week, each season. And it's not going to ever get erased, going to be there forevermore.
So yeah, you always have bragging rights if you ever want to show to other people, like, even if you come back like in a later season or something, you can always go like, trust me, I know what I'm doing type of thing. Yeah.
But we've got some additional rewards too. We've got some neat cosmetics for folks who, maybe don't hit the Hall of the Ancients, but they hit another threshold on the leaderboards. And we've also introduced another type of reward called seals. Now, I like to think of myself like I could compete, but I know better than that. I am never going to be ranking on those leaderboards ever. And so the seals are meant for players, frankly, like me, who just, not ready for the leaderboards yet. And so what the seals are is, let me describe it this way. So we've got that ladder we were describing, right? And each rung of that ladder is going to have a seal associated with it. And so as you get better and better each week for that gauntlet, you're going to be able to earn seals and start ranking up in terms of the seals that you have. And it's going to go from kind of, I believe it's called Seal of the Blooded, which is the baseline, all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. And once you hit Seal of the Worthy, now you're ready, according to the game, to be able to compete in the leaderboards. So for myself, I'm probably just going to be trying to get Seal of the Worthy each week. But it's going to be
I'm
pretty cool.
right there with you.
Seal of the Worthy is still something that's pretty cool that you can display to other players to let them know that, you're still pretty good at the leaderboards. It's just maybe you're not on the leaderboard itself.
I believe in you, Dan.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Yeah, belief is great, but I know my limits. So
so lots of cool stuff for season 3. Gauntlet being a huge part of it. As we mentioned right at the beginning, that Gauntlet won't be at the start of the season, but we do plan. It is a season 3 thing. It is coming in season 3. We just want to make sure that players can actually grow their characters at the beginning of season 3. It's not like a speed run type of thing, just to jump into Gauntlet, especially on the first week of Gauntlet, if we were to have it with the launch of the actual season. So players will hear more news about when Gauntlet actually hits really, really soon. We'll have information on that, and we'll be sharing that with players. But thank you guys for sharing a little bit about some of those season 3 components.